There are many stories in the Commonwealth. A few are happy, more are sad, some are tragic. There are silly stories, stories that turn one's stomach, and stories that need to be retold. Few stories, however, are as all-encompassing as that of Sim Settlements 2, made by Kinggath and written by Sirick. Sim Settlements 2 is a story of family. It's a story of hope.
It just might be possible to bring back a measure of the civilization to the wastes.
For a while there, it seemed like the Commonwealth was finally starting to find its footing.
And it's a story of mystery. Every great story has a villain, and Sim Settlements 2 is no exception. In chapters 1 and 2, the Gunners have been that.
I'm Captain Wes of the Gunners. The new beginning for the Commonwealth is near.
With Captain Wes following the directions of some mysterious benefactor, they've become a very powerful force in the wastelands of New England. Despite the misgivings of some of his more experienced lieutenants, who see the Gunners of today as having compromised the old traditions and values. But who is this mysterious benefactor, and what are their goals? Welcome to Deep Dive Gaming, and our first real deep dive. I'm the Navigator, and I'll be guiding you as we look at the mystery of who is the big bad of Sim Settlements 2. On this journey, we'll progress through the broader story as we find clues, talk about the Gunners' role in the story, and even discuss other reveals that show that someone has designs on the Commonwealth. We, on this channel, are truly enthralled by this story, and wanted to make this video to show the true masterclass storytelling of one of the best mods that exists for Fallout 4. Be wary though, this video has massive spoilers, so if you have not played Sim Settlements 2 but plan to, do not advance any further. And with that said, let's start diving. In order to do this right, we need to go back to the beginning.
Oh my god!
Not that beginning. Before. Where did the primary tool of the mod, the ASAMs, come from? Also, why weren't they being used before the bombs fell? Unlike most mods for Fallout 4 that introduce new equipment, Sim Settlements 2 provides answers to these questions that reasonably align with lore. The first question is an easy one that we learn almost right away.
Congratulations! You've made the smart move of choosing Robke brand ASAM sensors for your city planning needs. Unlike other less reliable multi-purpose sensors, Robke brand ASAM sensors offer the level of versatility and connectability that you deserve. Robke brand ASAM sensors, America's #1 sensor solution. Distributed in partnership with Vault-Tec.
To answer the second question, we need to follow a series of clues. The first coming thanks to Jake.
Earlier, you showed an interest in getting more out of ASAMs. Now, if that's something you really are serious about, then I know where to find the equipment we'd need. Now, this equipment we're after was delivered from Concord Hardware to an old Air Force satellite station called Olivia.
As we assist Jake in looking for this ASAM equipment at the USAF satellite station Olivia, we find this note on a table in the locked intel room. It's from someone named Carl and requests that this hub be unpacked and connected as soon as it arrives. But where did it come from?
Take a look. Shipment label reads, from Concord Hardware. This is definitely the equipment we're here for. No mistake there.
We now know that this equipment we're looking for is called a comm hub, and we learn from Jake how it relates to the ASAM sensors. Remembering that it was shipped here from the Concord hardware store, we can go to the hardware store and look around, finding a delivery receipt. Apparently the comm hub has been bouncing around Boston from one store or warehouse to the next. But why would Robco send it to a USAF satellite outpost, and why take such a circuitous route? Our next batch of clues is again brought to us by Jake.
Fortune has smiled upon us. A friend of mine discovered where we might find a second comm hub, in better condition, as well as a nice stockpile of ASAM products to boot.
We join him on a foray into the Vault-Tec regional office building, and upon first entry, we find on the reception counter a search and seizure warrant. According to the warrant, federal law enforcement is looking for illegally obtained intellectual property. This property belongs to Robco and is called by name, Advanced Survey and Activity Monitor Sensors. So that's what ASAM stands for. Interesting. And why would Vault-Tec have Robco technology anyway?
Well, that's kind of weird. Assuming this is the right place, why would a Vault-Tec facility be having ASAM equipment delivered? Didn't one of the ASAM sensors talk about Robco being in partnership with Vault-Tec? Maybe that's why.
Investigating further, Jake finds that there is an employee at Vault-Tec called Magnuson, so perhaps we found the origin of the comm hub. On his suggestion that we look for his office, we continue our search of the building. During our search, we encounter Frank Davidson's personal terminal and his logs. It seems he doesn't like Magnuson too much, complaining he's always chatting up the girls or disappearing to work on his pet projects. His logs also mention that Vault-Tec is going to receive a large shipment of ASAMs. How one of the Vault-Tec scientists can't reproduce the hub device from schematics that Magnuson supplied. Finally, Davidson mentions that this whole matter with ASAM sensors in the comm hub is hush-hush, and that Vault-Tec has broken at least 5 federal laws. No wonder the Fed showed up with a warrant. Leaving that alone for a moment, we finally reach Magnuson's office. While Jake gets to work on the terminal, we can see a framed photograph on Magnuson's desk. Looking closer, we find a picture of 2 men, one in an astronaut outfit, the other. Is that Robert House?
I think I discovered why Vault-Tec were so interested in ASAM equipment. If I'm reading this right, it looks like Vault-Tec was trying to develop a rival product to the ASAM sensors. Seems this Magnuson was hired by Vault-Tec because he used to work with Robco on the ASAMs. They must have wanted his insider knowledge. Although, judging by his terminal entries, I don't think this guy took his job here very seriously. Scratch that. He really didn't take his job seriously. In fact, he was using his position here to embezzle company equipment. The nerve on this guy. He was actually stealing from Vault-Tec. Building materials, computers, robots. Hell, he was even stealing their ASAMs and... Oh, I don't think we're gonna find a second comm hub here. Vault-Tec were expecting a comm hub to be shipped here. But this Magnuson guy hijacked the delivery. Had it sent to Olivia instead. What we came here to look for, we've already found. Magnuson wrote an entry all about it. It's almost as if he was bragging. Apparently he walked into a shipping depot, bold as you please, and switched the shipping label on the comm hub's crate. Seems like he'd been pilfering equipment from Vault-Tec for months. Looks like we're stuck with the hub we have. But it does sound like Vault-Tec were working on something similar. Maybe we should investigate this rival product of theirs. Hey, maybe it's something we can use? The terminal said this place has a warehouse where they worked on projects. I'm thinking we should take a peek down there.
Reading Magnuson's terminal logs for ourselves, we can confirm that he does indeed know Robert House. We also read his log admitting to stealing the comm hub and that he's going to bounce it around shipping companies for a few weeks before sending it to Olivia. This confirms the note we read at Concord Hardware. But he was stealing more than just the comm hub. He stole Mr. Handy's heavy rocket launch equipment and liquid nitrogen? This all leads to new questions.
This Magnuson guy, just what was going on there? I mean, clearly he had no interest in helping Vault-Tec. And just what was he doing with all the supplies he was stealing? Like the comm hub. Why'd he send that to Olivia? I find it hard to believe Vault-Tec didn't notice that. Did they have their heads in the sand? Or did they just not care? Doesn't any of it strike you as kind of weird?
Why steal all this equipment? What could it be used for? We also find references in Magnuson's terminal log to a Vault 110 and CIT engram tapes. But more on that later. We finally have enough information that we can theorize about why the ASAMs were not in use by the time the bombs fell. In one of Magnuson's final logs, he's realized that people have stopped talking about the ASAMs. Could this mean that Magnuson's interference caused a delay in product release? And remember the federal warrant? Perhaps the delay was because of corporate espionage and Vault-Tec's theft of Robco's ASAMs. In another terminal log, by one Walter Scott, we find proof that Vault-Tec wanted to reverse engineer the ASAMs. This could definitely cause a delay in product release if Robco first had to pursue legal action against Vault-Tec. Too bad the bombs fell before they could see justice done. But the story of ASAMs and the comm hub is not yet complete. As we help Jake get the comm hub up and running,
Okay, that didn't exactly go to plan.
And getting communications established between ASAMs,
I've patched in the parts we need, but I think we're gonna need more power for this. So I'm gonna head down to Plutonium Well, boost its output a little. Whilst I'm doing that, it'd be really helpful if you could try tuning in the hub for me.
we accidentally come across a gunner signal.
Command, this is Golf Romeo 19er, requesting reinforcement. Over. Command, requesting comm check. Can you hear me? It's no use. I can't raise them. Something out there screwing over our comms.
Hello?
Try again. What the? Who is this? How'd you get on this frequency? You're disrupting Gunner communications. Do you know what kind of trouble that can get you in? You better tell me how you're doing this, and fast.
Sorry. Didn't mean to interrupt.
Too late for apologies. Civilian gear ain't able to broadcast on this frequency. What kind of hardware are you using? Where are you broadcasting from?
I gotta go.
Given the strength of your signal, you can't be far. Once we're done with our op, shouldn't take too long to find you. Don't go anywhere.
Uh-oh. This can't be good.
Darling! I got back as fast as I could.
I made a mistake.
We'll worry about that later. I overheard the whole thing on my Pip-Boy. The hub's broadcast frequency. It must be similar to the one the Gunners use. Or at least close enough to cause disruptions. We really don't want the Gunners' attention on us. And we definitely don't want them sniffing around the comm hub. This is not good. They ain't exactly the nicest bunch of people you'd run across. If they could find a reason to mess with you, they'll do it. By broadcasting on their comm frequency, we've probably piqued their curiosity. They'll want to know what kind of tech we're using. They may even try and take it. I don't think we could afford to let the Gunners come here.
What do we do now?
I don't know. Maybe I could talk to them. Convince them to leave us alone. Hold on. I think I could find where they're radioing from. All right. Looks like they were somewhere northeast of Olivia. Well, guess I should go check it out.
This leads us to find a ravaged settlement and...
That's close enough. Who are you?
Whoa, easy there. Easy. We're not looking for trouble. If you don't mind us asking, what went down here? And who are you?
Gunner expansion. I tried to seize this place. I'm Aiden. And without sounding too melodramatic, I hunt down Gunners. Been on this squad's trail for a week. This is the 4th settlement they've hit. Gunners have been unusually active lately, laying claim to territory all over the Commonwealth. This settlement was just the latest conquest. Saying that, this place used to just be a solitary hut. I've no idea how they built up so damn fast. Sudden growth must have been what made them a target.
Sudden growth? Oh no.
After a shootout with a large contingent of gunners and some reassurance, Jake agrees to continue to help the settlements. This leads us to...
Okay, that's far enough. Throw your weapon on the ground. Let's see those hands in the air.
Here we meet another group, victimized by the recently emboldened gunners.
We just had our old home taken from us by goddamn mercenaries. Had to flee just so we wouldn't become indentured workers. You ever heard of the Gunners? They're a merc group with a nasty mean streak. I actually used to run with them a couple of decades ago. Back then, they weren't so bad. But recently, they've been making a real nuisance of themselves, laying claim to territory all over the Commonwealth. Their most recent claim was our settlement. They annexed it. So we ran. Now we're just trying to lay low and rebuild what we lost. But, if you ask me, the Gunners are up to something. They were never this territorial before. If you happen to run into any of them, watch yourself.
With another settlement founded, or Stodge's camp brought to an existing settlement, Jake sends us off on a foraging mission across the Commonwealth. We complete this quest and return to Jake's hardware store, only to find that a battle has taken place. We all thought it was so cool how Sirick had integrated so much of Fallout 4's vanilla content into the Sim Settlements 2 story. The Mariner himself was and is in awe of how much Fallout 4 content there was outside of the vanilla main and factions questlines. There were so many places you would never think to visit or even know about. Sirick not only brought people's attention to much of it, but integrated it so smoothly into Sim Settlements 2's story that it all feels like one game, now complete. As we saw from the release of Chapter 2, Kinggath and Sirick were only just getting started.
Everything's prepared. The only thing we're waiting on is you.
But back to the story. We return to Jake's hardware store to find that a battle has taken place.
I think someone's taken your partner.
Following the leads provided and through a suggestion of Aiden, we head to Diamond City, seeking out one of our colleagues, the Ron, who's seen better days.
Oh man, you're not here to perform some kind of revenge killing or something, are you? It was the Gunners, man. Burst in, demanding I tell them who I'd been selling info to. Asking all about communication devices and pre-war tech. I told them. I said I don't sell information on clients.
We remember encountering a pair of ne'er-do-wells outside of the Ron's information emporium upon our first visit.
Will you just leave them alone? We're not meant to start trouble with the locals.
You got lucky this time, Wastelander. I better not see your face again.
When I didn't play ball, the Gunners, they tried some creative methods of persuasion. Look, I didn't want to give them any info, but I've never been tortured before. I had no idea it could hurt so much. This cat couldn't hold out. I told them what they wanted to know. I told the Gunners about Jake. And then they broke my legs as a thank you.
The Ron leads us to Vault 75, where Aiden joins us in a foray into the vault to find Jake. We can either go in, guns blazing, or stealth in through the use of charisma checks. Eventually we find Jake, and he's being interrogated by the big galoot who confronted us outside of the information broker's office.
I didn't ask what it was designed to do. What the hell are you doing?
Wes may lead the Gunners, but here, I'm in charge. And this is my prisoner.
It's here we meet Algernon, who doesn't agree with the course Captain Wes has set for the Gunners. And this is when we're truly introduced to the mystery of Sim Settlements 2 that was mentioned at the beginning of this video.
The Gunners. We're under the command of a man named Wes. And currently, Wes has us contracted with some unnamed benefactor. By following the directions of this mysterious employer, we've become very powerful. But they've pushed us down some questionable avenues, forced us to compromise old traditions and values. Only Captain Wes has been privy to who they really are, but we've been working for them for many years. The Gunners you see today are mostly a result of their influence. With our employer's backing, the Gunners have become a force to be reckoned with. We've captured a lot of territory, extended our reach far. But there's always been a hard limit to how much we can actually hold and control.
Because you lacked reliable communications. That's what held you back, isn't it? That's what this is all about.
That's right.
And now the Gunners have their hands on the comm hub.
With something like your hub, the Gunners would be virtually unstoppable.
But you're a Gunner too, right? Why would you want to stop that?
Not all Gunners agree with the path we've taken. Some of us have tried to push back. But West refuses to listen.
Do you have any idea where Berman might have taken the hub?
Most likely to a hidden safe house, but I don't know which. All I do know is that it's only a matter of time before West learns how to use your hub. And once he does, the entire Commonwealth will be vulnerable to Gunner conquest. I don't want to see that happen, so I'm going to help you find your hub.
Who is this unnamed benefactor, this mysterious employer? We'll discuss one possible answer in part 3 of this video. But, for now, with Jake freed and returned to his hardware store, we move on to discussing a faction introduced by the Sim Settlements 2 mod, the Nightingales, and a potential clue revealed through a side questline we can follow. The Nightingales are roaming healers of the Commonwealth Wasteland. Through our assistance, we help them as they make Mass Bay Medical Center their base of operations. After they are established in the medical center, Fiona makes a request.
Someone got in touch with us about donating some funds and supplies. They were pretty vague on details, but Cersei seemed to think it was a good idea. At least, she thought it was a good idea to see what the offer is, how many strings are attached, that kind of thing. I trust her to handle that part. That said, I'm usually the one negotiating, and those things can go wrong very quickly. I'd feel better if you were there to keep her safe.
We meet Cersei right outside of the meeting place.
These guys are a bit... Well, they're not local, and they do things their own way. Unpredictable. They make me nervous. It's a bit odd seeing the new Liberty Trading Company in the Commonwealth. Guess something caught their attention. The important part is they're offering to fund us. Sorry to keep you waiting, Miss Proudmoore.
Can't be helped, I'm sure. Let's proceed. In this envelope are the details of the sums the NLTC would like to invest in your organization. If you're agreeable to our terms, the first shipment will be forwarded to your location beginning of...
That's... Miss... This is a lot of caps. Antiseptic, copper, lenses... Wait, did you say first shipment?
That's right. You seem surprised. Those are the estimated startup costs for an organization such as yourself, are they not?
And then some.
The NLTC will assume all responsibility of security during delivery.
But...
It's a generous offer we're putting on the table, Doctor. One that I can just as easily take to many other initiatives in this territory. Your friend here has certain ventures that I'm sure could use those finances. Yours is simply one with the most promise for the investment.
It appears there's another faction that has designs on the Commonwealth. But who are they, really?
I am here as part of a delegation tasked with taking measures of prospective profits that could be accrued with preemptive investments.
Turning back to the main story, we find out that the Gunners aren't satisfied with merely taking the comm hub. If we allowed Wise to leave peacefully during the Runners and Gunners, he contacts us to warn us.
Captain West got a hold of your computer thing, and he's figured out how to use it. I've been hearing radio chatter coming in from all over. I've never seen our comms this active. There's even clear signals from squads outside the Commonwealth. We've never been this well connected. But that's not the only reason I'm contacting you. Wes is finally making his move. He plans to bring the entire Commonwealth under Gunner control. One of your settlements is about to be attacked. A squadron of Gunners is on its way right now.
Or we find out from Jake that a settlement has been taken over by the Gunners.
Darling, you there? We got a bit of a problem. I think one of our settlements just got taken by the Gunners. I can't tell for sure. Without the comm hub, I can't monitor the ASAMs there. But they've gone quiet. I can't make contact over radio. God damn it. The Gunners are already making their move. I wonder if this means they figured out how to tie their radios into the hub. You need to go check out that settlement. See what's going on there. If it has fallen to the Gunners, you'll need to liberate it. Be careful now.
And of course, it falls to us to go to that settlement, either to defend it or liberate it.
This is Captain West of the Gunners. This settlement is now under our jurisdiction. You are warned to not resist. Aggression towards Gunner forces will not be tolerated. Submit to our authority, and no harm will come to you. A new beginning for Commonwealth is near.
Meanwhile, Algernon and Aiden have been following a Gunner squad to Vault 81. And again, we're contacted by radio.
It's me, Aiden. I got news. Believe it or not, Algernon came through for us. We've been shadowing a squad of Gunners. We think they may know where the comm hub is.
About time. The Gunners, the squad we were following, they were stragglers from a strike team. They're trying to take this vault. The leader already made it inside. He's the one we think has the comm hub intel. We'll make sure no more Gunners get past. You get in there and get that intel.
Going into Vault 81 and clearing out the Gunners, we find that more Gunners have been busy elsewhere.
This Berman. You got a way to contact him?
Yeah. This radio. I was meant to call him when we were done here.
Hand it over. On the desk, now.
Sure. Take it. It's yours.
Let's try this radio. See if we can't gather some more intel. Try turning it on.
Sergeant, about time your lazy ass radioed in. What the hell kept you? Had to move everything myself. Whatever. You finished at that vault now?
You got any spare men left? Bring them with you. Could use the extra cannon fodder. Lost a few of mine attacking a settlement. Ungrateful pissants actually fought back. What the f... Wait, who is that? What are you doing with a Gunner radio?
That's Berman, the one who took your comm hub to Wes. Berman, this is Captain Algernon. Let's not waste time. You know my opinion on the Gunners. Everything we're doing, it's wrong. It's only gonna hurt us in the long run, and the Commonwealth will be no better. But you can still do the right thing. Help us. Tell me where the hub is. We can still stop all this before it goes too far.
Oh, jeez. You always were a blowhard, old man. What makes you think I give a mole rat's ass about the Commonwealth? Hey, that voice I heard before. That was that Vault Dweller chump, right? The, whole survivor or whatever. Put him back on the radio. I want to talk to them. Yeah, you're the partner of the guy we nabbed, right? Building settlements and stuff? I gotta thank you. There's just so many new towns and outposts. They'll all make good vassals for the Gunners. Might take a while to capture them all, but, you know, with your hub computer hooked into our comms, it's only a matter of time. Oh, and don't even think about trying to get it back. The place I just moved into ain't nowhere we got that's more secure. You'd need an armed militia to even set foot inside. You talk real big, but I know you ain't so tough. And your little settlements, they ain't so tough either. In fact, I just came from one of them. Even took me a little souvenir. Some old guy mouthed off at me, said I couldn't shoot straight. So I figure, hey, he must be volunteering his body for a little target practice. Maybe you know him. Hey, take that old coop's gag off, let him talk.
Consarn it, get off me! And while you're at it, unbind my hands. Or are you boys afraid of an old scaver?
Paul.
Was gonna take my time on this guy, you know, teach him a lesson. But whatever. Hey, you! Hey! Look at me when I'm talking to you.
Quit your hollering. And stop waving that gun around. With an aim as bad as yours, you probably end up shooting your own foot.
Shut it! You're gonna serve as an example. Show what happens when someone stands against the Gunners. Any last words?
Oh, I got plenty of words. But most have too many syllables for the likes of you to understand. How about witless troglodyte? Or ham-fisted reprobate? Here's one you might comprehend. Lousy shot.
How's my aim now? Wasteland trash? I'm done talking. Still got a lot of work to do. And you keep out of our way, or you will regret it.
But the loss of our friend was not in vain, for we learned the location of the comm hub.
In spite of what happened, that radio call may have been just what we needed. Unwittingly, Berman let slip exactly where he's moved your comm hub to. He always was a loudmouth.
Yeah, I heard it as well. Ain't nowhere we got that's more secure. That describes only one Gunner-controlled location I know of.
Exactly. Only place he could have been talking about. The Gunner's Plaza. Our main base of operations.
South of here. Most dangerous part of the Commonwealth. If you don't count the glowing sea, that is.
Plaza used to be the old GNN HQ. It's been occupied by the Gunners for as long as I can recall.
Knowing where your hub is, that's the first step in getting it back. That Gunner, Berman, he wasn't lying about needing an armed militia to get inside the Gunner's Plaza.
And so we are tasked with assembling a force to assault Gunner's Plaza. We can request aid from various factions throughout the Commonwealth based on choices we've made and our progress through the questline for each faction, and lead a task force against the GNN building.
Stand down. Open the doors. Let them in. I'll admit, that was some fireworks show you put on out there. I know why you're here, but I won't let you take it. Your hub is too important to our work, and I assure you, we'll put it to much better use than you ever would. Under my guidance, with our employer's backing, the Gunners can resurrect the wastes, create prosperity not seen since the Great War. With your hub computer tied into our comms, we finally have the means to achieve that. So I refuse to hand it back to the likes of you.
Sounds like you're protecting someone.
If you mean our employer, you've got it the wrong way around. It's them who protect us. Our employer recognizes our value and rewards us justly. I won't stand aside and let some self-righteous wastelander destroy everything I've worked towards. No, your meddling ends here.
Yeah.
And finally, not long after we've established ourselves with GNN as our new headquarters, we and our department heads gather around the comm hub as Lupe and Jake have discovered something serious and frightening.
The Commonwealth is thick with derelict signals, old and new. You may just be jumping to conclusions.
I'm telling you, Lupe and Mansfield heard it too. We can't all be wrong.
Tell me what's going on.
Oh, darling. Thank God you're here. Let me get you up to speed. We finished upgrading the comm array with those new parts, and everything was working. In fact, if anything, it was all working a little too well.
After we installed the parts and rebooted the array, we started hearing a bunch of new radio signals.
You recall that small issue we had, where the old comm hub was intercepting certain radio frequencies?
Of course.
Well, we've kind of got a similar situation, only it's a little more complicated. It was only for a few seconds, but me, Lupe, and Mansfield, we heard radio communications from the Gunners. At least, I'm pretty sure it was them. Like I said, we only intercepted the comms for a few seconds. After that, I figured the most prudent course of action was to radio you, inform the other department heads, and then have Lupe try to re-establish the radio link. And that pretty much brings us to where we are. I think that maybe...
Hey, I think I just found the comm signal again.
Wait, really?
Alpha Golf 1, this is Spearhead Command. What's the holdup? Over.
Spearhead Command, this is AG-1 Lee. I've ordered a halt on all strike convoy movement. Large pack of shamblers spotted ahead. AGs 1 through 16 holding position. Group of conscripts ordered ahead to clear route. ET 6 hours until convoy move. Over.
Understood, AG lead.
Good to hear. With the extra firepower, those bastard resurgents won't know what hit them. First, we'll take back the plaza. Then, the Commonwealth. No one messes with the Gunners and gets away with it. Over and out.
Hey, did you hear what they said? They're coming back to Boston.
Strike convoy, conscripts, and contractors? Those Gunners aren't just coming back. They're returning with an army.
What are we gonna do?
Moving an entire army is no small feat. I dare say there's plenty of time for us to prepare.
I can't believe this is happening! Everything was going so well!
Believe it. They are coming back. And I doubt they'll be content with just a skirmish or two. We can expect a full-scale war.
Then I suppose we don't really have a choice in the matter, do we? Well, darling, seems we'll all be relying on your leadership yet again. Because if there's anyone who can guide us through this, it's you.
War never changes.
That's the whole story, as we've seen so far. And what have we learned? There are two different agencies with designs on the Commonwealth, the Gunners via a mysterious benefactor, and the New Liberty Trading Company, who apparently have caps to burn in order to gain a foothold in the Boston area. But what if this mysterious benefactor and the NLTC are actually backed by the same person? We'll explain that in a moment. There seems to be only one answer. Magnuson. Now, we're not the only ones to come to this conclusion. We weren't even the first to speculate about this, as the Sim Settlements 2 forums are full of discussions on this very topic. But we're going to take a closer look into who is Magnuson. It seems he was a colleague of Robert House. Someone House trusted with the knowledge that nuclear war is most certainly coming soon. Someone who possibly shared his vision for the future. We know that he was stealing from Vault-Tec. For what? We don't know yet. There are mentions in Magnuson's terminal log at the Vault-Tec regional office that he was stealing equipment meant for Vault 111 and routing it to Vault 110. The purpose for this is not yet clear. But that's where we must use our imagination, and some circumstantial evidence to present you these considerations. If you've played Fallout New Vegas or spent time learning about what happened in the Mojave Wasteland, you know the story of Robert House. If you haven't and are unfamiliar with who Robert House is, we'll put some links in the description for our sources on his story. In summary, Robert House connected himself to a giant computer mainframe, placing his body in cryogenic suspension as a means of surviving the nuclear fallout. His ultimate fate is decided by those who play New Vegas. But what of Magnuson? He knew from Robert House what was coming. He knew of Vault 111. He was making plans, preparing Vault 110 for the pending nuclear war. Again, we know all of this because of his terminal logs. What does it all add up to? Robert House gave Magnuson final notice, 2 days until nuclear war. We know from Fallout New Vegas that he miscalculated. But did Magnuson complete his plans in time? Did he survive? What happened to Vault 110? Allow us to now present to you the Magnuson theory. There are two scenarios as we see them, one of which is quick and easy, the other is complicated but more fun. We'll start with the easy scenario to get it out of the way. Magnuson succeeded in copying House's plan. Surviving nuclear war, he continued in some fashion to acquire power and wealth in the new fallen world. Using his wealth and power, operating through his New Liberty Trading Company, he invested in new regions to gain more wealth and power. And this now allows him to employ the Gunners, provide them more powerful tech, and use them to take over the Commonwealth. See? Easy and boring. Because Robert House miscalculated, because the comm hub failed to arrive in time, and because Magnuson thought he had more time, he failed to reach shelter before the bombs fell. But that wasn't the end of his story. Rewinding a bit, we read in Davidson's logs that people in Washington were interested in what was in Magnuson's brain. He mentions a reclamation project. We don't have any clues as to what that is, but we can make an inference from Magnuson's own log. He mentions he needs to return to the Commonwealth Institute of Technology because an engram tape was corrupt. Now stay with us here. For those of you who played it, do you remember Nick Valentine's companion quest?
My memories, my personality, they're all lifted from some cop who volunteered for an experiment back before the war. They scanned his brain and copied it onto the hardware that runs between my ears. Don't know why they chose to make a robot based on some pre-war cop instead of a math genius or a bioengineer. Hey, maybe that's why the Institute tossed me in the garbage instead of turning me into one of their people snatchers. I remember waking up one day in a garbage heap, a body in tatters and a head full of memories belonging to a man who'd been dead for 200 years. Suffice to say, it was a confusing couple of weeks.
What if there's another synth prototype out there, and it has Magnuson's memories and personality? Here at Deep Dive Gaming, we theorize that Magnuson is a synth. He woke up to find time had passed and the world destroyed. Sensing the opportunity for power, he escaped the Institute. From there, he began working and building that power base using the currency of the time, caps. He started the New Liberty Trading Company, sending them into the Commonwealth to gain a financial foothold with some faction somewhere. We're not entirely sure why they selected the Nightingales, other than their medical expertise and neutral standing among the rest of the factions puts them in a position to be respected by all.
I am here as part of a delegation tasked with taking measures of prospective profits that could be accrued with preemptive investments.
It's entirely possible that if the NLTC starts making inroads and are supported by the Nightingales, it would be more likely that they'd be embraced instead of resisted.
It's true that a hospital in these times is not a reliable source of returns. Though truth be told, this investment is rather paltry. Our interest is a bit larger in scope. This hospital is something the people here are in desperate need of, yet no one has thought to invest. When it becomes a crucial part of the infrastructure of the region, the people funding it will be in the best position to leverage elsewhere.
Magnuson wasn't working this single angle, however, but at least one other that we know of, namely the Gunners. Magnuson, being a synth, started over without any of the technology that he'd collected before the war, and is looking to get it back. He has the Gunners searching the Commonwealth for technology he needs to maintain power.
In exchange for a few minor services, they've revealed countless stockpiles of technology and pre-war assets. Most of it untouched since the bombs fell. Our employer recognizes our value and rewards us justly.
Here are a couple of examples. First, in Vault 81, we know that there's a small-scale Vitomatic.
Hey, I've seen one of these before. It's a vigor tester, right? Lets you measure a person's qualities. How'd they make it so tiny? One I used was the size of a whole cabinet.
Second, the comm hub that we've been chasing since the beginning, now stolen by the Gunners. We also know that the Gunners have more knowledge about how to use the comm hub, as evidenced by Captain West's use of it when he tried taking over settlements.
Submit to our authority, and no harm will come to you.
We also see that because the Gunners were able to add additional tech to the comm hub, likely provided by Magnuson, who would know all about it.
Don't ask me how or why, but the Gunners actually finished repairing it. And they even started adding some upgrades. The upgrades look to be unfinished. Although I did notice all the new parts seem to be Vault-Tec brand, which did have me a bit concerned.
Now, if you've told Cersei to reject the deal from the NLTC, and we've driven the Gunners out of GNN, Magnuson has likely realized that taking over the Commonwealth is going to be a lot harder than he thought. This has left him no choice but to assemble a Gunner army. And that's our theory. Right or wrong, we've waited to publish this video until after Kinggath releases Chapter 3. We didn't want to spoil the story if it turns out we're right, but if we're wrong, it was still worth going through every clue Sirick put in the story. The clues excited our imaginations, and we thoroughly enjoyed the speculation regardless. If you found a clue that we didn't include in this video, please let us know in the comments below. If you liked our first deep dive, please hit the like button and share this video, and also please subscribe and ring the bell to be notified of future videos and deep dives. Thank you all for watching. Until next time, enjoy Fallout 4 with the now complete Sim Settlements 2 mod.